It's Mike and Shaun with Talking Tickets, and it's the last show before the big national event. And we got some big pickups and a lot more news coming your way.
Hey, Mike.
All right, we're back.
Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks, hasn't it?
I know, a couple weeks. We had to get one more in before the big event. Everybody's been talking about the big national. It's finally back around. Do you feel like you're ready?
I don't feel like I'm quite ready yet. I've just started looking at, kind of planning it out and going through all my tickets and trying to figure out what I want to bring for trade possibilities, and then what I want to bring for maybe getting it slabbed or reslabbed. So that's kind of a big project that I wasn't really anticipating.
Yeah, I'll say you were kind of similar but different. I basically am setting up, and I know I got to do the same thing because I'm bringing a bunch of tickets. So figuring out what am I going to bring, the value, is it worth it? Do I really want to
Yeah.
do this? Fly all the way across the state with or the country? But yeah, for me, I've been spending a lot of time with the dealer setup, which is kind of man, it takes a lot of time. And I finally
Yeah.
got my location. I'll be setting up with my business partners. We've been together for the last 4 or 5 years, and I kind of have this map all set up for the three main ones. I don't know if you've seen the floor layout. Have you taken a look at it yet?
I have. Yeah, I looked at the same thing. So this is a good graphic.
So yeah, basically the entrance is right over here. Show entrance, east lobby. Looks like you kind of have two areas, like a big main area where they have a lot of corporate types, the heritages, the goldens of the world, but they also have another area below. And from what I've gathered, here are some of the big ticket booths where it's all tickets. JP's going big this year. He's got two back-to-back booths over by the
Wow.
eBay tent.
Yeah.
He deals mostly, he got a lot of old baseball. I would say he kind of has a wide variety, of collection, but mostly older
Yeah.
stuff. You know JP, right?
Yeah. He has some good stuff every year.
I won't be too far away. I'll pretty much be right in front of the Heritage Auctions booth. So I think it's a pretty. See, the Cleveland layout's a little different than say like Atlantic City, where it was very narrow. This one's just
Hmm.
kind of wide open and wide. I'm not sure how this is going to play in this southern part. Like here's just a
Yeah.
massive area. Mark is going to be up here at 10:45, so it was kind of a nice little ticket hodgepodge. And there's going to be another ticket collector, I think, right over in this area. So, man, if you guys just kind of hit this right here, straight shot, that'll be a good spot to go.
Who's the
And
other one? Do you know?
Michael Zotos posted. I don't know him very well, but he's way down. Basically, just go left all the way to the end. So I guess easy to find if you already know
Okay.
where you're going. But yeah, he's right there on the bottom at 12:33. But yeah, this is kind of it. This is the layout.
So talk to us about the process that you go through to get there with everything that you have.
So basically, a lot of these big vendors will drive up there. Me being in Texas, so I got to load a crazy suitcase full of all my tickets, and I got to fit it in a carry-on because I do not want to check it. So I got to stuff it like
Wow.
crazy.
So
So I bring
everything that you are bringing is coming in a carry-on?
in a carry-on stuffed big time, and I put my body bag in there. So I put the body bag in there, and the body bag is for at the end of the night. You basically put all your cases in the body bag, zip it up, and lock it,
Hmm.
and then you're good to go. All the security. You're basically putting your faith in them, but it's got to be one of the most secure areas
Yeah.
around with the
Yeah.
value that's in there. So I don't want to take it out. I don't want to leave it. I got to bring two suitcases, so I really got to check one in. So I check all my clothing in. So I got two suitcases. Fly in early Wednesday morning, get to the show, and basically start setting up on Wednesday, turn in my PSA, and just kind of ready to roll.
So how do you have an estimate on how many slabs you're actually bringing?
My guess is probably about 50 to 75. I kind of brought some of the ones. Now I'm not finalized on pricing yet. I'd like to get all my stuff priced before I leave, but here are some of the ones that I basically have that I'm bringing. So I got basically a Kevin Garnett NBA debut.
Oh, nice.
I got that Clyde one signed. This really, I really like that one, how it came out. Clyde Drexler NBA debut. Super Bowl one. Your favorites, the Jeter.
Perfect.
The Flip signed.
You only want 3,500 for that? That's a bargain.
Bargain, right? Elway the Drive. I really like this one, but I really want to get a full.
Yeah. That's
Kobe debut. Anything strike your fancy yet, Shaun?
I mean, they're all impressive tickets. They're great tickets, but nothing.
These
that
are
I
kind
would
of the
want.
bigger ones I'm showing. I'll have a lot of other stuff too. I really like this one. It's the Jeter 300 with him on the ticket, which is pretty rare. Otani debut.
What's the grade on the Otani?
That's an 8. That's the season ticket box office version. So it's kind of a rarer one.
Yeah.
Beatles last ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of my favorites. I have a duplicate. It's the Kick 6. Kind of more of a modern ticket, but one of my favorite moderns. Bobby Witt Jr. auto debut. Bobby's pretty popular these days.
Yeah.
Bill's comeback.
That's a good grade for that one.
Yeah, fulls are hard to find too. That's a 6. That's a really nice one.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll find a good Bills fan that'll want that. The band is out on the field. I don't really know if I'm gonna bring this one because I really like it, but I have another one, the Cal Stanford game. You've seen a lot of these. Game 6, Mets. Same with this. I really like this one. Nirvana. That's the date of his death, April 5th, Kurt Cobain's death.
Yeah.
And your boy, if he's ever gonna pick up the pace.
Slowly.
This is Julio debut 10-10, which is actually really nice. So you maybe get this one on the cheap since he had
you're going to be selling low on that one.
I was going to say, yeah, it's one of those things where like, man, he's got to start turning it on, but maybe he'll be more of a postseason thing this year. And then next year he'll ride the postseason high.
Yeah.
Other thing I'd like to bring is the bargain box. So it's all like, non-graded. I mean, I just pull out some random stuff.
So for those, do you notate what significance, if any, is on it, or do you expect the customer to
no, I put like this one, NFC Championship, Cowboys, Packers. There's just some nice ones in here, and sometimes people like them to get autographed.
Yeah.
T.O. the Catch 2.
Yeah.
It's a nice full one. I want to get T.O.'s autograph, but he's charging like $450.
Yeah, the autographs. I was looking at that. They're insane, especially for tickets, because most of them have, or a lot of them have, separate pricing for tickets now.
Oh yeah, you see the Montana's now up to $800 or $900 for a ticket.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just glad I'm not a ticket collector or a autograph ticket collector because I'd be upset.
I mean, we talked about that, right? I feel like we're at the close to the peak of auto ticket pricing, I would think, right?
You'd think, but I remember, I'm old enough to remember when people complained about $40 autograph tickets, or autographs, or $50 or even $100 when somebody was charging $100 for an autograph. That was just insane, because back in the day, Mickey Mantle and Ted Williams and all those guys were charging $20, $15 at shows. So back then, imagining paying $1,200 or $2,000 for an autograph. Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, it's like where does the peak. I always used to think that with alcohol prices at sporting events. I remember you could get a
I think
beer
that
for
every year.
like $5, and then it got to like 7, 8. I remember thinking, there's no way it's ever going to get to 10.
Yeah.
Now we're at like 11, 12, 13.
I was at the Super Bowl in 2015, and a beer was $12, and I thought that was absolutely insane. And now that's a great deal. If you can find a beer
Like,
for $12 at a
yeah, I
game.
remember I went to a Ranger game, and Shiners were popular in Texas. I got 2 like regular cans. And then, of course, my wife put a tip on there. I think it was $25 for 2 cans.
Yeah.
I was like, do we really want this beer that much for $25? Is that really going to enhance our experience that much?
Yeah.
Speaking of beer, so Friday night, tell us a little more about the meetup. Any new info, anything you got?
So it's the same. I posted, so in the Facebook group Boogers, I posted an event, and that is the meetup. So it's at the Butcher and Brewer downtown. Yeah, there it is. Downtown Cleveland. Starts at 6. If you can't make it at 6, it's fine. You don't have to be there exactly at 6. If you show up at 6:30, 7:30, whatever. I think 30, I guess 29 people have RSVP'd right now. So if you are watching this and you want to go, feel free. I mean, you don't have to RSVP, but it's good so we kind of have an idea how many people are going to be there. Last year there was 30, I think, right? And that's about how many are planning on going this year. So it should be a lot of fun. It was last year. Get a chance to meet some collectors and put some faces to names, because we know a lot of names, but then you get the chance to actually meet them in person, and it's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, so Butcher and the Brewer is a place, and it looks like a great spot. Here's some basic pictures. And then their menu is like, man, we got some fancy food, fancy beer. One thing to point out is this year I did a little map, and the convention center is right near the airport. So if you kind of look at the map, basically, I mean, it's right there. X1 Center Airport, boom, boom, or 1X Center.
Yeah.
And then, a lot of people are staying downtown, and that is about a 20-minute drive. So you're looking at just kind of be planning ahead if you do visit, knowing like, wow, this is a pretty good haul from all the way from the convention center to the brewery.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite of Chicago, where all
no
the hotels and
excuses.
everything are right there. What's that?
Right. So I was gonna say no excuses like, oh, it's too far. People get in that mode, like just plan on going and be there, and it'll be all good.
Yeah.
And then the other events, talk about the trade night.
So the following night, that's Saturday, and this is so the way that the Nationals done the trade night. They've had various trade nights for cards throughout the years in years past, but this year they're doing it a little bit differently, where every night after the National is over, it's kind of almost like a post party or something. They have an actual trade night each night, and so on the Saturday trade night, Howard was savvy enough to get a space carved out dedicated to ticket collectors in the greater trade night. So if you go in, it'll be all the card collectors doing their thing with the trade night, but there'll be a section for ticket collectors, and that's Saturday night. And so we posted on the Facebook page to get anybody who there might be some chance that they want to go, to list their name in the comments so that we can put together a list. Everybody who's a ticket collector on that list will get the opportunity to go to will call prior to the opening to get a bracelet so they can skip the line. Because in the past, they've had too many people want to get in, and by building code, they can't allow a certain number of people in. And so this would allow us to make sure that we're able to get all of our people in who want to take part in the ticket collecting trade night. So that's what that is all about. and that's Saturday. Starts at 6 right after the show ends and goes on until I think they close it at 11, but that seems like a really long time. I'm hoping to be in bed by 11.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, man, by Saturday night, I'm usually pretty wiped.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, oh man, staying there after the show and doing the trade night. I'm gonna try to mentally be ready because I'm kind of really curious to see how it goes. I think
Yeah.
not just ticket collectors, but card collectors, I think would be pretty like, oh wow, look at all these ticket guys set up. But then I'm wondering how many ticket guys are gonna actually bring their stuff. So it's kind of a lot of big unknowns where,
Yeah.
unlike the brewery event, we feel like, oh, we're gonna have a great turnout and have a blast.
Well, the brewery event is easy because you just show up and you just meet people and you have a beer and you just chat and it's a lot of fun. With the trade night, it's a little bit different because you should bring tickets. You don't have to, obviously, but hopefully people will bring tickets and then we'll kind of set up and have an opportunity to try to hammer out deals. It doesn't have to be trades that happen right then, but maybe you're talking about other things you have at home and you can get contact with people and be able to hammer out deals later on. But yeah, the whole idea of both events is kind of to connect collectors with other collectors who they may not otherwise know or have ever met, and be able to make deals and network in the future. So
Yeah, I had some pulled up some pictures from last year's. I think this was last year's event, but just kind of give you an idea. Oh, there's
Yeah.
Darren.
that was last year.
And then I think I had a brewery one. Oh, there's the famous Lenny and his wife. But there's the autograph. So be prepared if you get an auto, it could get a little crazy.
Yeah.
And then there's the brewery event we went to last year. Everybody that showed up, all these fine looking gentlemen. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else you have to say about the National? I know Wednesday is kind of, if you get there, usually the best stuff at the dealer tables are gone Wednesday and Thursday. And then after that, it's, usually a little more negotiation can happen. Of course, Sunday's always Sunday where some dealers are just like, man, make me an offer and maybe we can get something done.
Yeah. Is that how you feel?
Yeah, usually the best stuff is usually gone Wednesday, Thursday. If somebody's going to buy high dollar stuff, I mean, by Saturday for sure. I mean, last year, Wednesday and Thursday was crazy. It finally slowed down by Friday afternoon because all the people you haven't talked to come up, you BS with them, they make their purchases. And then Friday, Saturday, you get more of the local crowd, especially Saturday. And then by Sunday, you're just like, it's pretty dead.
Yeah. So on that note, we were thinking that it's possible that the trade night will be kind of quieter on Saturday, which is good for us because then we can get more space and we don't have to, navigate all of the nonsense. So hopefully it is quiet Saturday, but that's what they were thinking. So that's good.
Yeah. So if you can make it, great. If not, maybe next year. But yeah, tonight's not all about the National. I had a bunch of stuff just between the Dallas card show and things I picked up, things I bought. So I kind of wanted to dig into all of that.
We haven't had a chance to talk about the Dallas card show, have we? On the show?
The Dallas card show is kind of famous now for what happened. Did you hear about what happened?
When the $2 million in cards were sold?
My buddies know that guy, not super well, but they have talked to him multiple times. And I mean, they say he just has some monster vintage, got in pretty much pre-COVID or right around when things were getting hot. And instead of loading up on modern, he loaded up on vintage, which of course was the right call.
Mm-hmm.
But he basically had all his crazy vintage out and was displaying it. And Sunday, when everybody was closing down, their stuff was still out and they got distracted. And couple guys basically have been eyeballing that all week and planned accordingly and swiped it. And, they didn't know it until I don't know how many minutes later. But man, that's the thing about cards is crazy. Like they can crack that stuff, sell it, regrade it if they're smart, and they may never get caught. I almost feel like in tickets, you have your section, row, and seat number. Yeah. So maybe one day you can be like, that's mine. But
and plus with tickets, the market is so much smaller that it's a lot easier for word to get out if something like that were to happen. where could it go that somebody wouldn't discover it and be able to, you know, call it out as stolen, that knows, that's heard the story or something like that. So that's an advantage for tickets, I guess.
Tickets win on that count.
Yeah, yeah.
But Dallas, you know, one thing I like about setting up at shows is not so much selling, but the people who come up with stuff. And a guy came up to me and basically said on Friday, "Hey, I got a bunch of old Celtics tickets. You know, my family was a season ticket holder. Would you be interested?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you know, bring them up. Let's see them." And he came up on Saturday and he brought some really cool stuff. And I was like, "Man, you have some awesome stuff, but there's a lot of big buts to it. So let me kind of show you." And we kind of talked about this a little bit. So he came up and he's like, "I got all these tickets from all the finals in the 80s,
Wow.
but they're taped to the program and a lot of them have writing on them." So as you can see, I kind of took pictures of them, and with the major close up, like here's 84. You know, these are all finals games, Boston, LA. But if you look real closely, you see all the tape, right?
Yeah.
3 tickets all taped down, 3 tickets taped down, writing on the front. There may even be writing on these. He didn't know because it was so long ago.
Yeah.
Other 84 finals, 86 finals, HHI. These are basically I can't remember who exactly was 86. 81, which was really cool. You know, that was the first Bird finals. And he had the Western Conference game set, Eastern Conference game 7 against the Sixers, which was pretty famous. And then he had some other cool ones, some 81s, other all the 81 finals.
Are those all stapled to the
Yeah,
program?
so they're all stapled. A few other ones, a lot of regular season. This one was I believe the Dominique Bird game 7 duel. I don't know if you know. Do you know about that game, Shaun?
I don't.
So basically that game 7 where Bird and Dominique basically went back and forth in the fourth quarter, just making shot after shot, and they called it the duel. So it's kind of a famous playoff game, and it's kind of one of my favorites, you know, a little before my watching time, but really cool highlights of them just going at it. Some Bruins tickets, some Cup finals. This was a Gretzky 4 assist game, which was kind of cool. 88. Yeah. But you know, you're the expert. Give me your thoughts on what to do with this.
It's funny. I just did this for a ticket. I won't say what ticket it is, but it's a high-end ticket, Celtics, and it worked out great. Yeah, and these would actually be easier because they're in good condition. And so a lot of times when the ticket is kind of all bent up, then it's really, the print on the ticket is really fragile and it can come off really easily. But these, I guarantee you, well, not guarantee, but I'm quite certain, I'm quite sure that they would come off pretty easily, all the tape.
So what about it being on the front? Would you worry about paper loss on the front?
No, not with this, because they're in good condition. So yeah, usually the front of the ticket is more stable because that's where there's a layer of kind of, you know, glossy paper on it, and that's easier to work with than the back.
Man, you're just a tape ticket wizard. I thought for sure you're gonna say, "Oh, you know,
No.
just slice the tape off on the edges and just roll with the tape on the front."
No, I think I want to do these. How many are there?
You need to make a video if you do. I want to see. I'd be very impressed if you were able to get this tape off, and I could see like big marks.
I've thought about doing that, and oftentimes if somebody asks me how, I'll tell them, but I don't want to tell people to do something and then they do it and screw it up, because there is some, you know, kind of delicate exercise to it that I've done numerous times, so I'm used to it, and I guess I'm good at it. But if you don't know what you're doing and you don't have the right tools, then you could really screw it up pretty easily. And I don't want other people to do that, and then I feel like I'm responsible for it because I told them how to do it. So, you know, so that's kind of why I'm not real open about the process.
Yeah, understandable. Some other ones. There's a few other pictures kind of give you an idea of other things that were were picked
Yeah,
up.
sounds like a great haul.
Yeah,
So
it was a great
you
haul.
bought this whole thing?
Yeah, the best part was, all these single tickets were just in an envelope. And, when you get a big baggie of single tickets and he doesn't know what's in them and I don't know what's in them, it's kind of just like, well, I don't know, like the whole
Yeah.
$5 a ticket thing, a lot of regular season games, early playoff games. They never really thought about only Celtics early playoff games I think about are really the steal, where they stole the ball from Isaiah and the Jordan game. He didn't have those. So I'm like, I don't know what these are worth. So I, throw out a number, but that's kind of usually where a lot of the treasure is in these single game tickets.
Right,
Which
but
was
there
nice.
was Celtics championships, right? But those are highly desired.
And this was in there too. Do you have an idea?
Oh,
what
that was
this
in there?
Yeah.
Is this Bo Jackson's debut?
Yeah, Bo's debut. And I had no idea it was. All I saw was this little stub, and I'm like, I saw a Patriots ticket, and I was like, I don't know. Then I start putting 2 and 2 together, and it's ERS. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe that's the year, and it was.
Yeah.
So it turned out to be a great haul.
Is that the best ticket in the whole thing that you found?
Yeah, I think it did ended up being the best ticket given the condition of the other ones.
Yeah, that's so you don't want to share how much you paid for it, do you?
No, I'll keep that to myself.
Yeah,
but it turned out to be it was a good deal without like the Bo ticket. But then once I found the Bo ticket, I was like, wow, this is a awesome deal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting with NBA tickets because generally it's harder to find the real gems in the season. So you can kind of flip through them and see if you found any game ones, because game ones are obviously usually the debuts.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's game ones, then you want to kind of look and see if it was significant. But if it's in the middle of the season, then what could happen? Maybe a triple double or a fight.
Or something like that. Like one of the games was cool because Magic hit a game winner with no time left.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's a cool ticket. Of course, Justin hit me up like, oh, I want these, and we actually made a deal for a few of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, basketball, and it's hard to tell on a ticket like this. You don't even see a date or a team name, so you just see it and don't even really think about it unless that's what it is. I think about that show was interesting. I sold Kenny Rogers perfect game. I sold a Cal Ripken autoed 2131 box office ticket, and both of those guys were in their mid-20s, maybe. So younger guys, and we always talk about, it's a bunch of old white guys buying tickets, but the 2 big tickets I sold, I was like, oh, cool, nice seeing some of the young guys.
Do you feel like, you've been doing it for a few years, right?
Mm-hmm.
The card show there.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the audience has grown that stop by and are interested?
Yeah, for sure. We always used to make jokes when I first used to set up there that if I sold one ticket for the weekend, everybody'd make a big joke about it. Like, oh my God, Mike sold a ticket, everybody, and fake applause and that kind of crap. But now it's, I usually sell anywhere from, could be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tickets a show. And get more interest. Yeah, but before it was just kind of like, oh, cool. And then people walk by, no sales. But now you definitely see it as more of a thing. But yeah, overall, that was a good show. And then the pickup. But yeah, other than that, I went to the might as well pivot to the MLB All-Star game. So did you watch the Derby and the All-Star game?
I did not. I just didn't really have much interest because last year it was in Seattle and I went to it. Right. So obviously it was, a big deal. But this year, I didn't even bother turning it on, honestly.
What was your thoughts on both the Derby and the All-Star game going to it last year?
The Derby was fun. That was a great time. And I was actually at the Home Run Derby in 2001 too, because I was a bat boy. So I was, actually on the field. But that Derby was the way that they have it kind of set up and the design of it, where it's just home run, home run, home run, home run. I think that's a great way that they do it. And I think it's far more entertaining than the game. And I used to feel the opposite way. back in, the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But now if the All-Star game was in Seattle again, or if I would go to the Derby and I would not go to the game.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I've done. I went to the All-Star game in Texas in 94, like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was probably the hottest event I've ever been to. Of course, the stadium is domed. Went to the Derby and in the All-Star game. And I went to the Derby in Colorado 2 or 3 years ago. And then went to the All-Star game there. And then went to the Derby and All-Star game in the last one. I guess it was, I went to the one in DC. And all my takeaways finally was, you know what you thought, the Derby was so fun, especially sitting in the outfield is unbelievably fun.
Yeah.
I actually took it. So I was sitting right here. These were my seats, which were incredible for the home runs, right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
In BP, they hit one up and a guy hit off his glove and it hit my hand and of course bounced away. I couldn't snag it. But they hit us all around us and we never really got super close.
Yeah.
So it was kind of my I had a bright yellow shirt on so you could kind of see me on the second deck. But I didn't go to the All-Star game too because it was kind of the same thing. Like going back-to-back nights is a lot. Mm-hmm. Tickets are insanely expensive. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick one. And I picked the Derby. And it's just a blast. If you can ever go to that and sit in the outfield, no doubt that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I love the format now compared to what they used to do, where it's just blast after blast after blast. And you're watching one and then another one's coming and you're just constantly, having to keep your eye out for the ball.
Because back in the day it was 10 outs. Is that how they used to do it?
Yeah. And so they would all try to hit a home run and then they'd take a break and then, another pitch would come and then it'd be a ground ball somewhere. And then, it was just kind of, it was fun, but this format is just way more entertaining.
Yeah.
Just strictly as a fan in the crowd.
And I took some pics from the event also. Let me see. Let me pull these up. Ticket related things. I saw this shirt. I almost bought it, but I didn't like how it looked. It's kind of a cool All-Star game with the ticket cut in half. I was like, I got to take a picture of that one. Let me see. Oh, this is some other crazy stuff I've taken pictures of there at the venue. It's like a ticket. You see what it says? Game used dirt. In the shape of a ticket.
Game used dirt. Now, was this game used dirt for the All-Star game?
No, this wasn't the All-Star game. This is from the ALCS, but it was in a ticket format. I was like, this is interesting.
I love it how they have the MLB authentic sticker on it.
Have to, right?
Do you think that they actually had one of these guys out there authenticating it when they had the ground screw guy out there scooping it?
Hey, maybe they might have.
Yeah.
This was they were selling commemorative tickets. See, a commemorative ticket cannot be used for stadium club entry. Authentics ticket print. I thought that was interesting. Commemorative ticket on the side.
So this was commemorative for last year's World Series?
No, this was just a random game. I don't know if something happened or maybe in somebody's debut. I think it was somebody's debut.
Yeah.
Maybe like I don't know, to be honest. I just remember seeing it. They're selling it. I was like, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's better than nothing. I'm always happy. This doesn't interest me as a collector, but I'm happy when I see teams doing it because it at least lets us know that they recognize there's demand for this kind of thing.
Yeah, and that wasn't the only thing they had. Look at all this. So Wyatt Langford, Josh Young, Evan Carter debut tickets, $25 each. Authentics booth prints. So I guess they're saying, yeah, these are legit. So, what do you think of that?
Yeah, that's really interesting. They're actually classifying them in is this their game use shop? Or
yeah, it's kind of where they have a little area where they sell collectibles. Yeah. They sell a lot of collectibles from bases used in games to bats used, all that. And this is right there with it.
Most teams have that now. But so they're saying that these are actually authentic tickets that could have gotten you into the game.
Yep.
Well, that's interesting. Huh.
Rangers,
there's somebody in the Rangers organization that is a ticket collector, I think.
Very ticket progressive in DSW.
That's great. That's great.
And you get there you go, custom printed souvenir tickets, $10 each. So that's what I think I showed earlier is basically what this was.
Yeah.
So kind of weird. I guess you can go back after the fact.
Yeah, as long as they make sure that they don't double print individual seats, I think that that's really important, because if they do that, then then it's just nothing. It's like, who cares? It wasn't individual to the seat that you had when you went to the game. I think that that's a really important part of it. And then obviously the commemorative that's not desirable for me, but if it's the only option, it's better than nothing.
And I think that was all of the Rangers ticket items. But yeah, I'd be curious to see if other stadiums are doing similar things, because MLB is very I feel like they're always on the same page with things, like their ticketing system and their websites. And
it seems like whenever a team picks up some kind of promotion or something, it spreads throughout the MLB when it's popular. So if that's popular, then I think that all the teams will start to do it. Or if there's demand to be shown that it's, there's demand out there. So that's good.
Yep.
Good news.
One thing I've been meaning to bring up, I did my first not broken phone, but forgot my phone trick to a sporting event.
Okay. Which one?
So it was the NBA Finals Game 4. So I don't know if you remember. You probably don't remember, since you said you'd rather watch a regular season baseball.
I remember that I didn't hear from you for like 2 weeks during that process because you were grieving. That's about it.
So, the Mavs were down 3-0. I had Game 4 tickets, and I didn't do it for Game 3. And I was like, I don't want to pull this card more than once this series. So if I'm going to do it, I need to make it worth my while. So I was like, this could be a Celtics closeout, which would be a big deal. And it could be a great financial hedge for my sadness. So if the Celtics won, I'd have this insanely valuable ticket. But if they lost, like if the Mavs win, right? So I'm kind of in all right, I get a win even if I lose. So I went up to the ticket counter. This is what I did. I had 2 tickets, and this is on my season ticket account. So I was like, man, I'm pretty sure this is going to work. I forwarded one to my friend, and I went up to the booth, gave my friend my phone, and I said, hey, I forgot my phone. I'm a season ticket holder. What can I do? And she's like, okay, got to go down to this booth down here, the season ticket holder booth. So I walked up, and I go to the guy. I'm like, hey, I forgot my phone. Can I get a ticket printed? Some way to get me into the game. And he's like, okay, what's your account number? What's your name? What's your address? What's your email? He asked every question he could think of. And then he goes, okay. And he printed me out a ticket. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I could, but I couldn't. I was shocked because I have never seen one from 2024. So he printed out this one, which is a pretty nice box office ticket, right?
Yeah.
So the Mavericks Celtics Game 4, Friday, June 14th. I was like, damn, I got my ticket. I had my little case holder. I took it into the game. I was like, here we go.
Yeah.
I finally got a ticket. Then the Celtics got blown out, which was great. But then I was like, well, my ticket's really not worth that much, but it's kind of a cool souvenir. So I decided, me being me, I was like, I'm going to put this thing on eBay. See if somebody really wants it. So I put it on eBay at $1,000, best offer. And some guy came in and gave me an amazing offer. And I was like, man, would I pay this much for this ticket? I know it's my ticket, so I have some inherent value. I value it more than a random ticket. But I was like, oh man, I got the $1 million man in my head telling me every man has a price. I don't know if you ever heard that saying, Shaun. Have you?
I've heard it many times.
So I ended up selling the ticket. I didn't feel good about it, but I thought I would be really stupid not to take that offer. So I no longer have the ticket. I kind of feel like
the amount that you got for it, did it cover the cost?
Oh my God. Yeah, I think it did. It more than doubled the cost of my ticket to go to the game.
So for both of them, for your friends too.
Yeah, basically covered the cost for both of them.
Perfect. That's great.
So I was like, this guy wants his ticket way more than I do. So
you got it.
Sold it to him.
That reminds me of a story. So in the when the one Super Bowl I went to was the Super Bowl where Russell Wilson threw the interception at the end of the game and the Seahawks lost. So I paid $800 per ticket, and I got 2 of them. I was in the lottery, and I had the retail price. And the Seahawks required that you brought a cashier's check to pay for them.
Right.
So I brought it, went and got it at the bank, paid for them. Like a year later, I get a letter from my bank saying that the cashier's check was never cashed.
Really?
And so I can claim the money and get it back. And so I got the money back. The Seahawks never took the money.
What? You told me you didn't write a letter to the Seahawks with the check and be like, "Hey guys, you never cashed my check. Here's your money."
No, I just got the money back. Maybe if they would have won, then I would have considered it, but I thought it was appropriate.
So you really won the Super Bowl lottery to get a ticket or get 2 tickets?
Yeah, because I was a season ticket holder, so my name came up, so I got 2 tickets to.
Wow. I always thought that was almost like a myth where they tell people, "Oh yeah, we're going to give so many to our season ticket holders," and then of course they give them to their corporate partners and all those people.
Yeah, there definitely was not that many available, that's for sure. But I just got lucky. Yeah.
Wow. Where were you sitting?
They were actually really good seats. They were behind the end zone in the second level, and we were on the first row. And there was like a camera well right in front of us, so there was nobody in front of us. It was great.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah. So unfortunately, the game didn't end the way I wanted it to, but it was one of the more historic Super Bowls in modern times. So yeah, that was kind of fun.
That was what city was that in?
That was in Arizona. Yeah.
Arizona. Okay. Let me see. Oh yeah, you know what? I found this very interesting. Do you ever get on the collect website, the CLLCT website?
Yeah, all the time.
So those don't know, CLLCT is the Darren Ravel site. And all they really talk about is everything collectible. Like you see auction, cards, autographs, tickets. It's pretty awesome. They got a designated ticket section of their website. But I read this and it really stuck out. And it just kind of made me shake my head. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to read it. It talks about auction houses and reserves. Did you read this?
I did. I read the same thing.
And it said, Arizona, where Iconic Auctions is located, doesn't require auction houses to ever disclose there was a reserve on an item, which is why the final prices of those items are still displayed as if they sold. This creates a greater problem because those prices are then used for comps, when in reality, not only did they not sell, but the auction house has bid it up. That is one of the reasons why Arizona has become a popular place for auction houses, including Iconic in gray flannel.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yeah. I love that Darren Ravel calls this out, because what other source even would bother talking about this? It's not newsworthy in the traditional news sense, but it's absolutely important for collectors to understand that. And I've known that before. I've heard it from other things. And if you watch some of those auction houses like Iconic, it's just completely bogus, the final prices that come up and stuff. So I don't even bother following those auctions because of that. And you see that at a few others too. And those are kind of the ones that I just, I discard those as not legitimate. And that's the reason that, they have secret reserves that they act like they're bidders, basically. And so they're really just shill bidding. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And they're hoping that somebody outbids their shill bid. And if they do, they get it for a really high price. But that's not a real auction to me. So I don't even bother.
Right. And they don't even have set reserves, I'm guessing. They just gotta have people on their computer shilling it up, right?
Probably. Yeah. I don't think that is legal. But it's effectively the same thing, where they just have, kind of reserve that the seller wants to. And by the way, it's not against the law for the auction house to sell something in their own auction. So it may very well be the auction house owns it. They're the consignor, and then they set whatever they want it to sell for. And if it's $10,000, unless it gets up to, and then they bid it up to $10,000. And if you bid 10,500, you get it, but it's, you're not actually bidding against somebody, which is what a lot of people think auctions are, which makes them confident that it's valued that way. because somebody else wants it for that same price, right?
Right.
And that's a misconception when it comes to those auction houses, which is, yeah, definitely troubling. And I'm glad that Darren called it out. It's not, it's kind of a passing thing that he mentioned in that article, but it's really important. There should be an entire article about that.
Right. And I mean, I didn't know that. I just assumed that some of these auction houses were bidding up some items, because I always have you in my head when I go to bid, like, hey, don't put your highest bid in early because these shady sites will bid you up.
Yeah. I mean, not accusing anybody of anything, but I've had too many times when I've done that, and then I happen to win it for the exact amount that I put my secret bid in at.
Shockingly,
So,
right?
Yeah. So I don't do that.
But I guess to me, for people, the vast majority who don't know, see that and be like, wow, well, that item sold for X amount.
Mm-hmm.
So the next one that comes up, well, I need to bid that high if I want to get it. And it just is really, man, it's so shady, screwy.
Yeah. And it's really only a troubling thing with tickets or with other items that you don't really have a set value. With cards, people are so aware of what they're worth that you can't really get away with that.
Right.
Because if you bid it way up, everybody's like, well, that's not worth it. I can buy that on eBay for half that price. But with tickets, there's a lot of tickets where you don't, especially when they're autographed, you don't really know what the real value is. So, maybe that is it. And that maybe I do have to pay more than that to win it, but really you don't. And
right.
Yeah. So definitely an important subject that should be talked about more openly, I think.
You mentioned, this article mentions iconic and gray flannel. Are there any other off the top of your head where you feel like there's shadiness going on?
Yeah. Here's how I approach auction houses. They're all that way. And I know that they aren't, but it's best to go in with that assumption, because then you can kind of, be careful
right.
with what you do and so if there's something that you really want that an auction house has, do some research and find out what the value of it is, and then come to terms with how much you're willing to pay for it, and then approach it accordingly, and then you're safe, because no matter what's going on behind the scenes, you're not going to get screwed as long as you've done that due diligence. So That's my advice on any auction house, including iconic.
Very good. Yes, very good advice. Listen, when it comes to auction houses, be like me and listen to what Shaun says, and don't put it in a big fat early bid from day one.
Yeah.
Did you have any pickups? Because I know, I got quite a few. I definitely want to share.
I just, I don't remember if I showed this, but this is the Jackie Robinson's first home run that I grabbed at auction. Big one. Yeah. I don't think I've shown this, but I got it quite a while ago, or a few weeks ago. And so I brought the triad because that's what this completes.
That's pretty cool right there.
Yeah. Jackie's first game, Jackie's first hit, and then Jackie's first home run.
So that first home run, would you have any interest in cracking it, or not cracking it, but having them try to upgrade it to a number grade?
Yeah, so it does look really good, but there's two issues with that. One is there's this stain on the corner on the side. I'm not really too concerned about that, but what I am concerned about is the fact that it's got a straight line bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And like we talked about, I think we talked about this last show. If I did that, then it would come back as authentic altered, because it was it was cut across the bottom at some point, and I just cannot stand that designation. So I will not send anything in that I think might come back as altered.
So I was going to ask you, what do you look for on especially older tickets that would make them be altered? Like, what little signs? Can you really eyeball them and know, or?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, you can tell, like, compare, let's see if you can get,
let me, it's a little blurry. I think
you see how it's just a straight line across?
Right. Just straight.
A tear doesn't do that. Scissors do that.
Right. And
And
that would
so,
just be on the bottom mainly because where the
yeah,
stub
mainly
would
on the
be.
bottom. I don't think that really anybody ever cuts the sides. I don't. If they do, that's really stupid. There's no reason
Right.
to do that. But the on vintage tickets like this one, when you tear it and it looks like that, a lot of people
Right.
don't like that, or they didn't like that, so they cut it with scissors across to put it in their scrapbook or whatever to make it look nice. That's why that happened. And so, it's very common on vintage tickets, but now PSA describes that as altered, which technically, sure, somebody cut it, but I mean, when somebody tears it in half too, they're altering it. So I don't know.
Do you agree with that should be altered when they cut them on the bottom?
Well, I agree that it should be trimmed. I wouldn't care if it said, well, I don't like that calling it out like that either. But the issue is, okay, so what about this? Let's say it is. How hard would it be to just tear a tiny little piece of that off at the bottom? Like if
Right.
you really want to get to the brass tacks, like why you could turn it back from being altered to being just regular authentic by just tearing a little tiny piece of it off the bottom.
Right.
Doesn't make any sense to me. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
I know when we talked to Matt, I was kind of interested on how they grade that aspect when they actually have a ripped bottom
Yeah.
because tickets are naturally ripped, some of them at least a lot of the older ones. Like,
Yeah.
how do you grade a bottom rip? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean that's not really Matt's department. He's not in the grading part of it, but like we talked about, it'd be nice to get a grader on so we could go over that kind of stuff if that was
like, I
possible.
think I brought up this ticket. It's the Wilt 100, and let me pull it up, and it's really nice. Hold on. But the bottom, it looks immaculate,
Yeah.
but the bottom has that rip, and I'm like, well, do they really discount it that much because it's rip? But that's how they did all the tickets for that
Yeah.
event.
Yeah. And what's the grade on it?
It's a 3, and I feel like it should be higher, but I'm like, are they just gonna not? Would they not bump it because
Yeah, it's hard to
that?
say. So, like, just for example, this one,
Hold on,
if
let me
you,
put you on.
yeah. So this one has that kind of awkward tear. It's got a straight
Right.
tear and then just a big chunk out of it. And then on the back, you can see, obviously it was paper loss on the back from the tear, but it turned out to be a 4. So who knows?
It's grading, right?
Yeah.
Grading in a nutshell.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I've said many, many, many times, I don't care what the grade is, but I do not want it to say altered
Right.
because yeah, I don't like that word when it comes to collectibles.
All right, let me go through some of the ones I got recently. I feel like I've been buying a good chunk of things. So I bought the all black starting 5 Texas Western.
Nice.
It was on eBay, and one of the
That's a good
reasons
one.
it came with this Type 1 photo. So I feel like a lot of times you can offset your purchase when you buy,
Yeah.
something. I have no idea what this is worth. It's not like this amazing photo with all the Texas
it
Western players,
Do you
but
know that it's type 1?
I mean, that's what the guy said. I
Yeah.
really didn't buy it for the Type 1, but it was kind of like a bonus. Like, oh, I could get.
Does it have a date on the back?
I mean, here's the back. Any Type 1 experts out there? I haven't really dug
Yeah.
into it too much.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Who knows?
So it's kind of a combo. I was like, you know what? I feel like this is a good deal. There's maybe some big upside on the picture.
Yeah.
One thing I've talked about that I've sold too early or I regretted selling, but I kind of got one back is the Ted Williams final game with the final home
Mhm.
run.
Yeah. I saw that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I guess the only catch with these is they got the hole punches and they actually taped it on the back.
Oh, that's
So
interesting.
yeah, right. So I
So
think technically you could have 2
okay,
tickets.
so here, getting back to this, I know this is just crazy, but that one's taped, and so that's considered altered also.
Right.
But it was slabbed a while ago, but it says canceled, and now PSA doesn't do the canceled thing, so it would just say punched. So could get the canceled off
Right.
by reslabbing it, and it would just say punched, but then it would say altered because of the tape.
Right. So that was the
So
big debate for the Nationals. Like, well, do I submit this one? But exactly what you just said. I was like, well, I don't want it to
yeah,
say altered. So I guess I'm just going to leave it with
yeah,
the punch cancel, which I don't want either. So it is what it is.
yeah.
I bought this one. I thought this was really cool. I don't know how rare these are. I'm sure you can get them both signed, but I like how this displayed. It's the game one with Eckersley and Kirk Gibson.
Yeah.
With the colors. I thought that was really cool. I think I bought this at one of the auctions. I've been looking for one of these for a while for a decent price. The Jesse Owens first Olympic gold, the 100-meter dash.
Oh yeah, is that the hard one to get, or are they all pretty?
I think it's I don't know about hard, but the most desirable one because it's the
Right.
100-meter.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
And some Super Mavs nerdery tickets that you have those tickets you've been looking for years, and literally I found 2 of them within a span of, I think, weeks. I mean, only the hardest core Mavs fan will know these, but this is like a famous game where Dirk had an and one and they beat the Spurs. And I was at this game and I've been looking for a ticket forever. And man, a guy freaking had them. I was like, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. And this was another random one, like the Mavs' first playoff series win in forever back in 01 against the Jazz in Utah. But I was like, man, as a super Mavs ticket nerd, I couldn't believe it. So I was like, they're cheap tickets, like $50, $100, if that. But it kind of makes the fun of collecting. You could buy a $150 ticket, and you're more excited than when you buy a $1,000 ticket.
Yeah, I know. Especially when you've been looking for it forever, and you know that how hard it is to find, and then you finally find it.
And I got some tickets back that were signed, and I may have done these differently. This is a Jose Altuve's debut. I really like Jose Altuve, even though I'm a Ranger fan. I think he's awesome, even though he's Houston and all his buzzer on his.
And he's a cheater.
But us short guys have to root for other short guys. So I got his debut autograph, and it's in black. I think I might have done it in blue so it would pop more. I kind of wanted to match the ticket. But I got his home run against Chapman signed. I think that's kind of a very underrated sporting event, but it's all, it's all scarred now because of the whole cheating scandal. But it's kind of famous too, though, because of it. So I think that's one that over the time will kind of be.
So that's the one where he was telling him not to pull his shirt off because.
Yeah, that's the one. I think that's like a super. Kind of a famous baseball playoff.
You're right. Yeah, that's an iconic moment in baseball scandal history.
I think you'll be kind of remembered for a long time. And I got a Jordan debut. I probably shouldn't have done this for what it cost, but it's probably very rare, and never know with that guy. So
yeah, he's a bit older though, right?
Yeah, a little older, and I don't know. It's probably one of those things where it's like, well, I'll do one. If there's only one out there and never want to get rid of it, I could probably at least get my money back or make a little.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got all these freaking Astros tickets. And who would you say your most hated baseball team is?
There's 2 that are tied, the Yankees and Astros.
Oh, really? The Astros
from back in the day, and then the Astros from more modern times.
Did you hate the Yankees pre the double and the slide?
Yeah, definitely. But it was more that era that got it going. Jim Leyritz, couldn't stand that guy when he played for the Yankees. They had
a weird swing.
How do you like Paul O'Neill? They just had guys that were not likable. So yeah, the Yankees. But also, when they would come into town, all the Yankee fans would come out, and obnoxious.
Yeah, that's super annoying. Man, going to Cowboys games, I'm not a Cowboy fan per se. I don't hate them, but I'm not a diehard. Oh, those road fans, sometimes they take over that stadium.
Yeah. That's how it is when Toronto comes here too. But Toronto fans are different. They're they're actually really polite and nice. They're just really loud.
They're Canadians.
Yeah, yeah, they're good.
Oh, I was gonna ask you about the I don't know if you watched the. You said you didn't watch the Derby, but did you see the national anthem?
Yeah. How could you miss that?
That's what I
For
was
the
asking. I was like, is this event more going to be remembered for the Derby and Bobby Witt almost winning? And what's his name winning? Or is it going to be remembered for the anthem? Everybody's
well,
like,
obviously the anthem. So you were there. You listened to it
I
live,
was
right?
there and she started singing. And I remember thinking, wow, she's kind of singing her own little unique version
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
I was like, okay. And then about
Sometimes
halfway
they do that.
through, I was like, well, is this really her version? Is this just bad? And then by the end, everybody starts kind of looking at each other with grins and like making faces. And then by the time it was over, we're like, what was that?
That's funny. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I felt like the people at home thought it was way worse than the people in the crowd. Like we thought it was not good, but people at home were just I was getting texts like that anthem was awful. Who is that?
Yeah.
I was like, wow,
Well,
this must
I
be really
mean,
bad.
yeah, when you're in the crowd, you don't hear it as clearly as when, it's being broadcast on TV because it's a
Right. Get that
direct feed.
echo.
So, yeah. But yeah, so maybe save that ticket. Did you get a ticket of that?
No, I was with a group and I was in a hustle to get in there because of BP and I didn't want to mess with it.
Yeah.
I probably could have
not a
got
big deal.
one. It was the All-Star game. I think I would have done it if I went because I feel like those are just way more desirable. I don't know if there's a big desire for. I guess if Bobby Witt Jr. would have won, it would have been a desirable ticket. But
Yeah,
I didn't do the phone trick. But I haven't even looked to see if any are out there.
Yeah. So back to the National, are you bringing any tickets that you don't intend on selling, or if you?
No, I've had some. I got to decide if I am or not. So there's a few of them. Like, am I gonna bring this? So I kind of take Mark's rule to heart. Like I take your auction rule to heart.
Well, but what about the Jackie?
Oh, well, I don't want to say just in case there's any nefarious people out there. Keep them guessing.
Okay. So you're not.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not bringing this. Don't come around being shady.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
But I think I've taken about 13 or 14 to get graded. And
really? That many?
Yeah, I've had if it's worth over a couple grand, I'm gonna do it because it just financially it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I've had some stuff I've been sitting on for a while that I didn't want to ship. Like, you know what? I'm just gonna bring them and get them knocked out.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
Yeah, I think that I'm probably only going to bring maybe one or two that I actually want to get graded. I don't really because I've gotten most of everything else that I have all graded. So everything else I have that I want to get graded is just not worth that much. So
yeah, if you got them, it makes sense just to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, do you have anything else to share before we take off?
I think that's about it. Looking forward to seeing everybody at the National who's going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Back again.
Outstanding.
Well, all right. I guess you're going to be on Wednesday, right?
Wednesday, yeah. My flight arrives at 5:33, or that's what it's scheduled for, but it's Alaska, so who knows? So yeah, it's later, but because I lose time on the travel, then it's,
Yeah, you get killed on that, huh?
Yeah. So there's not really any other options. That was the earliest I could get in.
Right.
So that's my plan. Probably won't go to the show on Wednesday and then go Thursday.
Excellent. Do you have any plans other than the two events?
Maybe go to the game on Wednesday. I want to see that stadium because I haven't, I like to go to stadiums I haven't been to. So the Guardians and my hotel's right next to it, so it should be pretty easy. If I get there early enough, then I'll just go over there.
Yeah, that'd be a good one for sure.
Yeah, but that's about it. Hang out, make some new friends, swing some deals.
That's right. Swing those deals.
Yeah.
Was there no Lenny dinner this week? next week.
Oh yeah, I'm doing that too, and then that's Thursday. So, and then we got the trade night and meetup. So yeah, busy.
And then fly home on Sunday. Tired as hell.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, I guess I'll see you out there on probably, I guess maybe Thursday, but definitely see you there.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Yep. And anybody else going has any questions, hit me up. And maybe I'll see you out there too. And got a hot item. I thought you said debut. I was like, oh wow, okay.
World Series debut.
So
Nice.
I don't think I have any, but we'll see.
Cool.
Hopefully you can find them. So I'll be on the lookout, Tucker. All right. See you next week.
See ya.
Adios.